consolidation of production, whether it's actually feasible. And I mean, I think the DSB knows on holding that theoretically seems like a great plan, but has there even been a feasibility study?
Okay, you're absolutely right that fair trade has not addressed the plight of workers on coffee plantations. The reason for that strategy was twofold. First of all, if you just look, numerically at who's involved in coffee production at the low end of things, the majority are smallholder farmers. The second reason is that coffee plantation work tends to be seasonal and casual, so it's not very conducive to labor organizing. So that has led to a situation where, yes, the plantation workers are not really benefiting from fair trade. Some other certification schemes have addressed that. Probably the best known is Rainforest Alliance certification. Starbucks cafe practices coffee and I don't know what that stands for. It's their coffee and farmer equity. This is their own effort to ensure that their coffee is produced under socially sustainable conditions. It's out there. It's got a long way to go. More interestingly, I think, is when you look at communities where there are, smallholder farmers, some of whom are organized into fair trade cooperatives, and some of them aren't. And that was why I was interested in looking at where these premiums are going, and our cooperatives choosing to spend their premiums on things that only benefit themselves, such as building better houses or sending their own specific kids, giving them private school scholarships or whatever. And yeah, that's going on, but it's like 21%. So there's a long way to go, but that is on the radar screen.
The question is, has there been a feasibility study of whether it's possible for a brand or retailer to be 80, 90, 100% of any given factory's business? And there has been. American Apparel is a feasibility study of that. This is an extraordinarily successful apparel company that owns its own factory and has one factory. Now it has obviously textiles, some of which it makes, some of which it gets, but it has one factory that sews the product. That's its supply chain. It owns this factory. It's in the city of Los Angeles, and I'm not here to praise everything American Apparel does either, but the point is, American Apparel has managed with one factory owned by itself to build an extraordinarily successful business paying $9 or $10 an hour in Los Angeles to car manufacturers. Now, you cannot tell me that if it's possible for American Apparel to do it in one factory paying $9 or $10 an hour, that it's impossible for Nike to do it in 15 factories paying $1.20 an hour in the third world. I don't think you need scientists to explore this and give us an answer. I think simple logic dictates that it's possible, but there's going to be a cost. There will be a cost. There will be some reduction in flexibility. There might be some reduction in product variety. There will be a modestly higher price. Unquestionably, it is not feasible to do it as cheaply, as fast, with as much variety, probably, as it is if there's no such requirement. So the question is, are those trade-offs worth it? And that's a choice, obviously, that universities and consumers, others have to make.
Stan?
In your answer to Dick's question, you mentioned that the Oregon state law had a problem, and then this other question, Bruce's question, you were talking about the priorities: cost, quality, delivery. And it seems like there's kind of an obvious campaign goal here, and that is to change state law to allow as one of the performance conditions that you comply with, sometimes sweatshop rules. And then if that becomes part of public discussion, it's not too big a step from there to say, and all state procurement will demonstrate our commitment to this by requiring that all state procurement contracts include performance, suitability, and compliance with, basic intangible social things. The additional cost, like any other market commodity, copper's tripled in price, and oil has gone up. In Europe and Canada, they tax gasoline. There's some elasticity here. So if this became part of social norm and enabled by law, demonstrated by the state in its procurement. I mean, isn't there a path to making this something that we think of as part of our values instead of something that's a barrier or an obstacle?
Yes. I mean, Oregon, to my knowledge, is the only state that has a procurement law that's been interpreted in that particular way, and I think it was a product of political exigency at a certain point in time. No other state is. No, what I mean is I think the law ended up being interpreted that way because the University of Oregon had a problem it needed to solve. It's not been an obstacle anywhere else in the country. I will note, though, that the WRC is currently working with a number of states and cities that are talking about forming a national consortium to do, quote-unquote, sweat-free procurement of the apparel bought by government entities, public employee uniforms, and so forth. And we've urged them to do it collectively, both the enforcement and the purchasing of the goods, with an explicit requirement, and some have already put this into law, that the apparel purchase be made under appropriate working conditions. And one advantage, of course, of government entities doing this is they are the consumer. Right. We don't have to worry about the willingness of the consumer to pay extra wide price premium. They're buying it. And they can simply establish the standard and expect that the bidding process will reflect, the bids they get will reflect the somewhat higher costs of doing what they're asking for.
How many states do you imagine? I mean, I'm looking at momentum here. Yeah. Oregon does it, and then a couple other states. What would it take?
I mean, I think there are 6 or 7 states and 5 or 6 cities that are currently part of this discussion talking about forming this consortium. I think if it goes forward, hopefully most states and major cities will agree to be part of it because, frankly, why not?
South Carolina would be last.
It's possible.
Is the state of Washington?
I don't think so at this stage, but I think something is happening. I know the city of Portland is part of the discussion, and there may be something in Seattle. I don't know. There's an organization called Sweat Free Communities. People are interested. They have a website which has tons of information about this.
I want to ask a question about hours of work, in part because hours of work was an issue of a similar form and antitrust happened in the U.S. But vis-a-vis China, why is it that there are these tremendous, spikes in 24-hour, rush to get the product out on deadline, when one of the features of the supply chains that's been constructed in the last 25 years is this tremendous, telecommunication integration, in terms of regularizing that. And when it comes to retailers like Walmart, they have an absolute prohibition on overtime. There are reasons for that because they don't want to pay it, but they're able to do that. It's all very well organized. So why is it that in China you have these tremendous spikes in hours of work when, given the data mining and the Walmart knows, or all these retailers, they know whether the Christmas season, is going to be big or little. I mean, they aren't. It's not like they don't get surprised anymore the way they used to. Is there a reason for that, or is that just part of the structured into this subcontracting system, and you're going to have these tremendous rush, orders, and that's one of the features, and that's another aspect of this problem. But I'm sorry I'm sorry to you.
I think it's probably different causes at different factories, but I think most of all, it's a product of the same pressures that result in factories agreeing prices that they can't really meet if they're producing under proper conditions. They accept delivery times they can't really meet as a way of out competing other factories trying to get the same work. Or they agree to delivery time, and if anything ever goes wrong in the production of that order, they won't be able to meet it. So something goes wrong, and all of a sudden they find themselves in a position where they have to insist on those overtime hours and or contract out a piece of it to some unauthorized factory that their customer doesn't even know about. And of course in China, this is probably the single most significant factor in China's extraordinary competitive edge, but the workers are internal migrant laborers living in dormitories under a tremendous degree of control by management. It's a lot easier to get workers in China in that environment to work these kinds of shifts than it is in a lot of other countries.
The dormitory system.
The dormitory system, the lack of political freedom, particularly for those workers as migrants in those cities, the absence of much